You. What up? What up? What up? Mm-hmm. 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 That's a lot of minutes. A lot of minutes. Yes, they are. Plenty of burn. Hey, Woj. What up? What up? What up? Michael, my good man. What's the crack? What's up, Jason? How you doing, brother? Thank you. Crack's good, Mike. How are you? What's the crack? Crack's grand, man. Crack's grand. No doubt. I'm not sold yet, Tristan. I mean, all Atlanta did was they protecting their home field right now. What up, 45? How you doing, brother? Miami is absolutely a title competitor, strictly off the strength that they one of the three best defensive teams in the game, which I thought that they would be. I absolutely thought that, so I'm not surprised at all. Has it been that long, Ian? What's today? Today is Wednesday? I was not on this weekend. You're right. All right. I'll be on again this weekend. Eric Sermon is one of my favorite MCs of all time. I don't like Eric Sermon. I love Eric Sermon. No, you did not. True, you did not. Hey, Jillian, how are you, dear? You did not name me 11 players. I think you had Bradley Beal on that list. And that's so not real. Bradley Beal is not better than Luka when he's healthy. No, no way. Well, 45, I'm looking at what the Bulls have done. And, you play the teams that's in front of you. All right. They beat New Orleans. They beat Toronto. Who else did they beat? They beat New Orleans. They beat Toronto. And they beat somebody else. They beat two other teams, too. But I can tell you this: they beat Detroit twice. So you got a big test coming up because they got to see Philly twice. They got to see Golden State. They got to see the Knicks. They got to see Philly twice. They got to see the Knicks. They got to see Golden State. They got Utah coming up too. So I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see how they do and how they handle it. No doubt, definitely. I'm not surprised about Robbie Williams. I was ecstatic when they re-signed him. I was very happy when they re-signed him. I was not just happy when they re-signed him. Hang on for a second. Giannis, KD, Bron, Curry, Kawhi, AD, Dame, Harden, Joker, Embiid, and JT. Nah, I don't think Joker better than Luka. But that's just my opinion. But what did we just get finished talking about? So why he won the MVP? And Derrick Rose won the MVP in 2011, and I don't think he was a top 5 player that year. So what's your point? He was league MVP. I can't stand how this dude tries to monopolize my conversation. And we were talking about the Bulls. So they got Philly. They got Philly twice. They got the Knicks. They got Utah. They got Golden State coming up because they got a West Coast road trip coming up. So I'm real interested to see how they do. I'm real interested to see how the Bulls do because they're one of the better defensive teams in the league. They as of right now, they're in the top 5 in the league in defense, which is dope. And that was my biggest concern with the Bulls. who they were defensively. I knew that they could score, but my biggest concern with them was their defense. So I do, to be honest with you, Jillian, I do like these rules. And what it's doing is it's exposing these guys who now have to play through the gimmicks that they play. And, James Harden, for example, a huge part of his game is getting to the stripe. He averaged over the last 5 years, he averaged 10 free throws a game, right? So a huge part of his game is getting to the stripe and having to play through contact now. If we see him or his scoring start to fall off, that might be a huge problem for where he ends up in history. Because now what's happening is now we talking about a guy who, I'm good, Random. How you doing, brother? Because now we talking about a guy who the knock on him is, well, maybe a lot of the stuff that you did, it got benefited from you getting the whistle. You can't really play through contact. So I'm interested to see how this goes with him. Yeah, that's like I said, Cameron. I'm big on I'm big on what the Bulls got coming up, because I'm going to see what they made of. Absolutely. I don't think that so you think it's so Mike, Michael, you think it's a conspiracy against James Harden? Mm-hmm. It appears James Harden isn't getting the normal foul calls. Or is it, Michael, that maybe James isn't getting the normal foul calls that he gets? Because again, like we just got finished talking about, a lot of his stuff, right? A lot of his game is him getting to the stripe. It's a lot of it is him getting to the stripe. So no doubt. You quit basketball to focus on this man. I quit basketball to focus on this man. It frustrates me to go down in the rankings. Why did you do that? Why did you quit to focus on what, man? Yeah, that's a fact, my man. Cameron, I like what the T-Wolves are doing. I absolutely do. I absolutely like what the T-Wolves are doing. Chris Paul and Jason Kidd. What about Chris Paul and Jason Kidd? What about him? Well, Michael, let me ask you a question, Michael. Do you remember? I don't know how vivid your memory is, but can you recall a conversation that we had, I don't know, maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, where I said I wouldn't be surprised if the Trailblazers did not make the playoffs this year? And this was before the season started. I don't know if you remember that. Around the NBA, what's going on, brother? Yeah, the rookies absolutely are playing great. Mm-hmm. And I'm just thinking, Michael. I look at this group and I look at what happened with them in 19 and what they did to improve that team, what they did to make adjustments, and they didn't do anything. Only except everybody else improved, especially at the top of the Western Conference. So I think I had Evan Mobley. I think he's my pick to win Rookie of the Year. Everyone's gotten better, Michael. Everyone. And they haven't. They thought that they were just going to run it back. Getting swept. And I've said this countless times. I can be wrong about this, but I've said this countless times. When you get swept out the playoffs, I don't think you're close to winning it. I just don't. That's fair, George. Absolutely. Iverson, I got the Phoenix Suns. I got them 4th in the West. And I don't like what they're doing with Ayton. I don't. And I don't mind them not paying Ayton. But the problem that I'm having is them not paying Ayton and paying everybody else. I got a huge problem with that. That would explain it. That would explain it, Super Mario Hoops. Yeah, that would absolutely, that explains a lot. Brandon, let me tell you something. The East, I'll tell you what, Brandon, the East is very much like how the West was, where in a week, if you have a bad week, you can go from 3 to 9 in 1 week. Have a bad week. From today, Wednesday, to next Wednesday, you can be in 3rd place, and then next Thursday, you could be on the outside looking in. That could very well happen in the East. Absolutely. That's a good question. Why haven't we seen Cade yet? I'm wondering why we have. Just like I'm wondering, what's the story with Siakam? What's the problem up there? Mm-hmm. You're asking me about if it came down to the last player in the top 75, Kyrie or Dame. Who am I picking? Dame. Yeah, absolutely. Dame Lillard. Even though Kyrie statistically he's better and he's more efficient in everything, Dame. Crazy. What's up, brother? So Siakam had surgery in the offseason. All right. I don't know if Ben's getting traded, man. I don't know what they're going to do. I think that this is going to be a situation where they're going to have to work this out, yo. They're going to have to work this out. Have to. Hmm. Well, George Foreman was a brawler. Not only was George Foreman a brawler, George Foreman, that's why he lost to Ali. And that's why Michael Moore lost to him. Because Ali used his game against him, and Michael Moore actually got in the ring and tried to beat George at his own game. Come on, Mike, you 5'10". You want to stand in the middle of the ring with George Foreman, who's 6'4" and 245 pounds, and you want to go blow for blow with him? That's why you got dropped. Nah, man. I don't have a satisfactory answer on why Anthony Edwards was 2nd place in the Rookie of the Year votes. I know that Minnesota wasn't as good as Charlotte. I do know that. And I do know that Anthony Edwards played the entire season. He didn't miss a game. And I do know that Charlotte made it into the play-in tournament, even though Melo missed a month. So I'm still not. I still haven't gotten a satisfactory answer on what that was. Oh, yeah. I mean, I talk boxing, but I got the problem. Random is that I've been out of the. I've been out the boxing game. So, like I said, when Lennox retired, like I don't really bother too much with Triple G. I think he a sideshow. Like Canelo is super nice with the hands, but I really haven't been paying attention to a lot of guys. Like I said, after Lennox retired, I was out because I was a heavyweight division guy, and I haven't really been paying much attention to it, so I can't really talk about it like that. So I apologize. What did I miss? I'll tell you what, Jillian, the Knicks fan base, they're not as bad as the Cowboys, but they in the same neighborhood. They don't live on the same block, but they definitely in the same neighborhood, no doubt about it. Anthony Edwards damn sure did go for 40 in that last game. So, Jack, what's up, brother? How you doing, my man? Yeah, Nick, but if that's the case, then if the NBA loves flashy players, then why did Ben Simmons win it over Donovan Mitchell? I don't get that. Good, brother. How you doing? And he looked like he'd been working on his game too, Cameron. On top of that. Hey, Hoops 24, that's a really good argument. You can make the argument that Yao could have been, especially his influence on the game. So let's say let's say 20 years, we're in 2001, we're in 2021. Let's say 20 years ago, was China that big of a deal in the NBA? Was China really paying that much attention to the NBA back then? I mean, Yao shows up. We got a potential billion people for a fan base that we can pick from. I mean, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. What's up, Hype? But was he doing those things though, Nick? Boxing is a tricky concept. Absolutely, man. No, Cameron, I don't think Cat should move on from Minnesota because I think that team, number one, I think they moving. I still think that they moving. I do. I still think that they moving, and I don't want to see. I think the Timberwolves are poorly run, and I'm glad that they've been sold. So now with that, they've been sold. Maybe we can have better management, and that thing can get ran better. They can draft better. So, of course, you see that they're going 73-9 again. Steph winning the league MVP, and here we go. You already know what that is. Let them start the season how they start in the season, and yeah, they going they winning 70 games this year, and Steph winning the league MVP. Oh, I would love to see them in Seattle, to be honest with you. And I'm not going to say I'd love to see them in Seattle. I'll take that back. I do take that back. I am going to answer this, Jillian. You know why I'm going to answer this, Jillian? Because I am livid. And you know why I'm livid? I'm sorry that I get emotional about this, but when I first saw Joel Embiid, he reminded me of what Olajuwon was when he first came in. He's running up and down the floor. He looks slow. He doesn't look athletic. He falls in love with the jump shot. I'm watching him flash across the paint, and Mitchell Robinson, he gets to the box, and Mitchell Robinson is pushing him 14, 17 feet away from the box. I'm thinking to myself, would Patrick Ewing let Mitchell Robinson push him that far away from the box? Would Shaq let Mitchell Robinson push him 18 feet away from the bucket? I wonder if David Robinson would let Mitchell Robinson push him off of his spot. I'm wondering if that would happen, because then he gets the ball 15, 16 feet away from the basket. Now he's dribbling it because it looks pretty. He's getting doubled and he's throwing the ball into the stands, as opposed to parking on the box, demanding the basketball, and making them play through you, like Tim Duncan did. But no, that's not sexy. That doesn't look good. Give me a break, man. Oh, man, it makes me nuts. OG, if I ask you a question, you never got asked, and I get a mob. He got killed, Darrell, on a double team yesterday. If you ask me a double team, if you ask me a question that nobody asked me, I don't know if I'm going that far, but no, I can get with that logic, Random. I can absolutely get with that logic. Do I still think that AD can have an MVP season? I'm not sure if you know this. I'm not sure you're aware of this, but AD is 27-11 in 2 blocks. I just want to put that on your mind. So before you go any further with your Anthony Davis isn't this, Anthony Davis isn't that, he's 27-11 in 2 blocks right now for the Lakers. So let's make sure that we clear on that. Alperen Sengun. I'm not aware of who Alperen Sengun is. I mean, that's not news about Nike having sweatshops. We know that. That is not news. I'm not surprised at that at all. And true, to answer your question, at minimum, if Leonard stays in Toronto, at minimum, they in the finals. I can't say with 100% certainty that they win it, but at minimum, I mean, they was in the East semifinals against Boston, and they took Boston to 6 games. Put Leonard on that team, they beat Miami. I believe that. I think they beat. I definitely think that they beat Miami and they beat Boston, no doubt. No, it's nothing, Jillian. Don't let that fool you. That is absolutely nothing. Do not let that fool you. Too much sauce. You can argue. You can stand on a hill and you can fight it all you want. But the proof is in the pudding, my man. This dude is healthy, 27-11 and 2 blocks. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I don't know if they beat the Lakers, to be honest with you. I don't even want to talk about Zoe being the defensive player of the year more than I want to talk about Zoe being a rim protector at 6'6". What's going on with that? Zoe is a rim protector? Are you kidding me? Zoe is like, I'm not being put on a poster. Not happening. No. You're not putting me on a poster. I don't think so. Damn. Yeah, Mike Tyson caught Larry Holmes, who is one of the, in my opinion, I think he's the most disrespected boxer in the history of boxing. He has the record for holding the belt the longest of any heavyweight in the history of boxing. He held the record. John Moran is not a 6-foot rim protector. No, he is not. AD is all over the place. I think Dwight was snubbed more than Alonzo Mourning. I won't go as far as to say Zach LaVine is an MVP, but he's playing really well right now. And it helps that defense is really, really good, man. It does. It helps that defense is good. No doubt. No doubt about that. I'm not even watching the Packers. I should. I'm gonna watch the Packers and Cards game. I'm gonna flip back and forth between that, but I'm more wrapped up in the Heat in Brooklyn. I'm definitely gonna watch that. Yes, I am. They could be a top 5 duo. I will tell you this, though. When I look at that Boston team, it looks to me like we got some roles that need to be figured out. When you're on a team and you're trying to win it, at some point, we got to establish who the guy is. So is the guy on that team Jason Tatum? Is it Jaylen Brown? Which one? It's like Scottie Pippen had to say, Mike, you're the guy. Kobe, even though as good as Kobe Bryant was, he had to go. Shaq is the man. He had to do that. So we have to establish some roles here. So I think that Jaylen Brown is an exception. I don't think he's better than Jason Tatum. I just don't. And the reason why I don't is because I look at what he does offensively and I look at what he does defensively. Defensively, I think that he's one of the I think he's going to be an all-league defender, and I think he's one of the better defenders in the game. Jason Tatum, on the other hand, all around, his ability to score, his ability to get to the basket, his ability to get to the stripe, I don't think that's sustainable with Jaylen Brown. I just don't. I do not. Why do I have Steve Nash over Chris Paul? When I think about a point guard and I think about what Steve Nash did and in the system that he was in and how he flourished, we have not had a point guard. If I can recall, and this was 15, we in 2021, since 2006, we have not had a point guard who was responsible. I don't even, and I think since John Stockton, we haven't had a point guard that was responsible for almost 50% of the offense. I don't think Chris Paul did that. Steve Nash did that. Steve Nash almost did that twice. He was a routinely 50, 40, 90 guy. Now, I will tell you this, that Chris Paul on the defensive side of the basketball, he was elite. No doubt about that. He was absolutely elite. And his durability is in question. And he could ruffle some feathers, but as a player, when I think about what Steve Nash did, Steve Nash was better. He was a better shooter. I think Steve Nash was a better playmaker. Offensively, I think Steve Nash overall, I think he was better than offensively. I think he was better than Chris Paul overall. Well, the question that needs to be answered with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Take Jaylen Brown off of Boston and put him in San Antonio. You think he's 24 a night in San Antonio? Take him off Boston and put him in Orlando. You think he's 23, 24 a night in Orlando? Because I think Jason Tatum is buckets everywhere. CP3, after the 2003-2004 season, averaged more assists than Chris Paul. CP3 averaged more assists and less turnovers. That is not true. Because just so you know, in the 04-05 season, Steve Nash led the league in assists. In the 05-06 season, Steve Nash led the league in assists. And if I'm not mistaken, in the 06-07 season, Steve Nash led the league in assists. So that's not true. No, it is not. The longest was 12 years. Klitschko held it for. I knew that Larry held it for 8 years, so it was the third longest, and he's widely disrespected for that. Widely disrespected. Held the belt for 8 years. That's a big deal. do you think at Mike Tyson's height, him being a heavyweight, could compete against? Yeah, because Mike Tyson was really crafty, and Mike Tyson was a master at getting in his technique in terms of him getting in your body. He was really good at that. What does Nash do better than Chris Paul? Well, number one, he's more durable. Number two, he's a better shooter. He's a better shooter from the floor. He's a better shooter from the free throw line, and he's a better shooter he shoots the long ball better. All three of those, and he's a better passer. So, and on top of that, he took his team further. I don't think any of those Phoenix teams, in terms of a talent standpoint, was as good as Lob City. Take Chris Paul off Lob City and put Steve Nash on there, and they going to the finals. He getting them to the Western Finals at minimum. Chris Paul got that team out of the first round of the playoffs, I think twice, in the 6 years that he played there. That is unacceptable for a team that talented. Blake Griffin finished third in league MVP votes. I think it was the 12-13 season. And he got them out of the first round twice. That is unacceptable for that team. Unacceptable. How can you say hell no? Do you know that DeAndre Jordan in the 15-16 season, first team all defense, first team all NBA, man? Blake Griffin, a 5-time all NBA performer. He had the best bench player in the game. You think that if Steve Nash got the best bench player in Jamal Crawford, arguably the best power forward in Blake Griffin, the best rim protector in DeAndre Jordan, he wouldn't get them at minimum to the West Finals? You fighting that? Wow. The same thing that he's done with him. That's what DeAndre has done. The same thing he's done with him. No, I do not hold winning the chip against Charles Barkley. No, I do not. Absolutely not. He was first team All-NBA. He was first team All-Defense in the 15-16 season. First team. That's not my opinion, chick. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. That Lob City team underachieved. And it was primarily because of Chris Paul. They should have been better. He stayed beat up. He stayed hurt. I think they lost him in the 14-15 season. In the playoffs, he broke his hand. Come on, man. I will not fight the defensive part of the ball because Steve Nash was not the defender that Chris Paul was. And anybody that argues that, there's no conversation to even argue that. So he damn sure did, Steady. He damn sure did punch that thing on Miles Bridges, didn't he? Gave him a taste of his own medicine. Give him a taste of his own medicine. Why was hand checking? Why is hand checking so important? You know, you got to play through contact. I don't understand why that's a point of emphasis. I don't understand why that's a big deal. What fight shouldn't have happened? I missed it. I'm sorry. I can't use Steve Nash's stats. Even though your numbers are largely an indication of who you are, I just remember that team and how good they were. I just remember how good that team was and the reason why they were as good as they were was because of Steve Nash. No, I'm not from New York. I'm from Jersey originally. No, that fight shouldn't have happened random. There was no reason why Ali should have been in the ring with him. That was nonsense. Shot nah, man. If I'm wrong, straighten me out. If I'm wrong, straighten me out. See that right there, Mark Jenkins? I'm not listening to that. I'm not listening. If he had Amari and he had Marion, he did. He had Blake Griffin. He had Jamal Crawford. He had a bomb squad. He had Jordan. He didn't have a good team. He had a great team. That team widely underachieved. He had one of the best long ball shooters in the game in Reddick. Stop talking to me like this dude was running around with okay players. He wasn't, or good players. Those guys were great. I don't know about that, Hoops. I mean, Doc Rivers did win the NBA championship when he got to the Clippers. So I don't recall Mike D'Antoni. I'm trying to remember seeing Mike D'Antoni in the finals. Mm-hmm. James Harden, any of Nash's teammates. line up any of Steve Nash's teammates. James Harden is better than any of those dudes. That's funny, yo. Oh man, yo. Steve Nash, if you put Steve Nash on those Suns teams, do they make the finals? What? Man, I for real think that you sleeping on Steve Nash. For real. I don't mind. We already talked about this study. It's a huge part of his game. James Harden going to the free throw line. So this is taken away from him not getting to the stripe. So, this is a big deal, yo. This is a huge deal. And I don't think that it's a conspiracy against him because, this is all the guys, right? This isn't just him. This is all the guys that aren't getting foul calls. It ain't just him. Steph ain't getting the same foul calls that he got last year. James ain't getting to the stripe, which would explain why he's shooting more threes than he normally does. So I think that's a point of emphasis this year. Definitely. I don't know, man, if they win it. Because I'm looking at that Bucks team, and I'm looking at the job that Drew Holiday did on Chris Paul and slowing him down. It wouldn't surprise me that he would have done it. I don't think that it would have been any different with Steve Nash. The way I personally think, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this to you guys before. But I personally think that he's the best perimeter defender in the game. I'm convinced of that. So, no doubt. Drew Holiday, 45. I think he's the best perimeter defender in the game. Mm-hmm. The reason why Paul George is so hated is because we saw him in the East Finals against LeBron in 12 and in 13, and we thought that he was next because he was so young, and that Indiana team looked like they was on the doorstep. And then when he got hurt, it took him years to get back to, elite form. And then when we saw him in the playoffs, that Oklahoma City thing was that was a disaster. That was absolutely a disaster. And before last year, he hadn't been able to deliver like he did. Even though they lost to the Heat, he hadn't been able to get back to that form. So the fact that he was looked upon like, well, maybe we got it wrong with him. Maybe he isn't that dude. And that's where the hate came in. That's where the idea of him being a fraud came in. Oh, got put out by who? Random? What happened? I don't understand. So they moving from Thursday to Tuesday? Is that right? Until January to avoid going head to head with. Okay, I can definitely get with that because you do not want to compete with football. Hell no. You do not want to compete with football. No, you do not. No, you do not. There's a reason why there aren't many games on Sunday because the NFL owns a day of the week for 4.5 to 5 months. Everybody knows this. The NFL owns a day of the week. So you got to work around in the NBA. They got to work around that NFL schedule. There's a reason why on Super Bowl Sunday, all NBA games are all early games. They don't play at night. Warriors and Grizz tomorrow night? Yeah, that's supposed to be a good one. That's going to be on ESPN. And I'm going to watch that. I think the Warriors got their hands full with the Grizz. No doubt. Well, it's not no more games on TNT. No. It's just moved to Tuesday. They still on. They're just moving it to Tuesday night instead of Thursday because they don't want to compete with the NFL, which makes a lot of sense. Not currently. I don't bother with sports betting, sir. No, that's not my thing. I do remember the Grizz sent them home. Mm-hmm. I do remember that. Jason, the thing that I can say about the Knicks to start is that what I've seen from them so far is when you come to 34th and 7th Avenue in New York City, you better bring your hard hat and you better bring your lunch pail because you are just not skipping through here and thinking that you're getting buckets and you're getting wins. It's not happening. We are a unit and we grind it out. That's what they look like. And I think that they're going to be I had them 7th in the East. Currently, I had them 7th in the East. And the reason why I had them 7th in the East is because I'm looking at the landscape of the Eastern Conference, and the Eastern Conference is so tough this year, but they could fall anywhere between 4 and 8. Maybe even 3 and 8. I love Lou Dort. I do. I love everything about him. No doubt about that. He has 4 million subs, and he said, "How are the Lakers and Grizz game close? It's 1v5, Ja versus the Lakers." Well, they got 7 new guys, and they trying to figure it out. You can't just step on the floor and, all right, I got this dude, I got this dude, I got this dude, and I got this dude. It's not just showing up to the playground. It's not. It's way different than that. You know, there's a system implemented. Guys play a certain way. There's a chemistry issue. You can't just throw guys together. This is not the park, man. It's not. And by the way, that Memphis team is a lot better than it's 1 versus 5. I'm not listening to that. That's nonsense. I'm not listening to that at all. Evan Mobley. He was my pick for Rookie of the Year, and I stand by that, Chris. I had Boston. I had Boston. I got Boston picked at 5. I got the Heat at 4. I had Philly at 3. I had Brooklyn at 2, and I had Milwaukee at 1. I had Atlanta at 6. I had the Knicks at 7. I had the Bulls 8. I had Charlotte 9. And I had Indiana at 10. And I had Toronto on the outside looking in. True, I want to make sure that we have this conversation between Morant and Fox in a month, in 2 months. And if this is still going on with you, if this is, I want to see where you are in 2 months, because if I'm wrong, I'll absolutely wear that. But I just know every time De'Aaron Fox sees Ja Morant, he busts his ass. Period. He busts his ass. So that's not my opinion. That's a fact. I do stand by that, Mark. But like I said, you can change your opinion with new information. So the Eastern Conference is a lot tougher than what it was in years past. And like I said before, man, from 3 to 9, that could be separated by 4 games. They could be separated by 5 games tops. The 9th place team could be 5 games out of the 3rd spot. So that's Jillian. That's only because he's saying that right now because of what he's going off of right now. And I completely disagree. I mean, because Ja Morant is not playing good. He's playing great. He's leading the league in scoring. You know, Memphis is looking like a really good team. And I'm looking at that Dallas team. Don't be surprised from what you see right now. Don't be surprised if they're bounced in round 1 again. Don't be surprised. Mm-mm. Do not be surprised. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm looking at the landscape with the Dallas Mavericks. They're one of the top 10 teams in the league defensively. They're not a good team defensively. They're one of the top 10 teams in the league defensively. Offensively, they're in the bottom half, not in the bottom half of the league. They're in the bottom 5 in the league. And you know why they're in the bottom 5 in the league? It's because their offense is stagnant. Their offense is stagnant because Luka pounds the basketball. And it's very difficult. It's like James Harden. It's very difficult to play with a guy who pounds the basketball. They don't have a lot of action off the basketball. They don't have a lot of movement. They don't have a lot of ball movement. They don't have a lot of play movement. So they got a lot of guys watching. And when you got a lot of guys watching, it's easy to defend that, particularly in the playoffs. It's real simple to defend that. Why you think the Warriors are so good? Why you think Miami is so good? That PO hops, man. You don't have a guy that's just pounding the ball and bum, 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 bum. You got to move the ball. And I can appreciate where Mike Wilbon is with that. The only guy that I'm taking is I've already told you guys, Jason Tatum is my favorite player under 25. OG, Ja for Fox, who wins the trade? You asking me the same question, you just rewording it differently. What have I already said about Ja Morant and Fox? What have I already said about it? What's up, Mike? You back? Okay. What have I already said about this? All you doing is asking the question a different way. Because all you asking me is, who's better, Ja or Fox? Ball movement, your ball pounding superstar. Absolutely, John. Mm-hmm. I'll streak my town. Instead, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm running all the way through the city butt naked. Don't do that. I think the Celtics handle Washington tonight. I do. When you're trying to get past the defender, Taylor, the thing that you want to do is you want to shorten the recovery angle. So whenever I'm making a move on a guy, the first thing that I want to do is I want to have him here, right next to my body. And the reason why I want to have him here is because once I'm past him, I put him in a position where he has to either foul me or I'm going to score. You want to shorten the recovery angle, which puts him in a difficult spot. You don't want to long the recovery angle because now you're letting him get back into play. If that makes any sense. Stockton, miles away. I played in Europe. I played in the Irish Basketball League, and I played a little bit in Greece, and I played a little bit in Belgium. I played big time high school basketball. My high school basketball team, we were the number 2 team in the country. I was a starter on that team. I played big time junior college basketball. We were top 10 team in the country. We finished number 8, and I was a starter on that team. I played Division I basketball. I went to Utah State. I didn't play much there. And then I played a little bit in Europe. Facts, Mark. They were good. Yeah, the waffles over here were good. You can't go to Belgium and not have Belgian waffles. Yeah, I absolutely did that. Average Cabbage, doing good, my man. How you doing? Doing good. At what point? It was the 2018-2019 season, Vibez. That's when I decided that. Michael's crazy. That's good stuff, my man. Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd say no, Jillian. I mean, he's actually, I don't know if you know this, Jillian, but he's been in my live. I'm doing a live on TikTok. This was a couple weeks ago, and one of the guys is commenting like you guys are commenting right now, and the guy says to me, "Hey, Richard Jefferson is on line one." Richard Jefferson, stop playing. And sure enough, I looked, and Richard Jefferson is on line one, and we started talking, and next thing I know, this is a big deal now. I'm thinking, yo, I'm just talking basketball with a dude who played pro basketball. So it's not, I didn't think much of it. It wasn't a situation where I'm like, yo, this is Richard Jefferson. Yo, I'm talking to Richard Jefferson. So but if he were to if I were to get invited to do something there, I wouldn't say no. No, I would not. Chris the Sizzler, why? And maybe Chris the Sizzler, maybe you could give me a satisfactory answer on that, right? Because I still haven't gotten a satisfactory answer on why people forget how good Carmelo Anthony was. I can make the argument that from 2000, maybe 2008 to 2013, maybe 14, Carmelo Anthony was the best one-on-one player in the game. I can make that argument for that stretch, not in 2008 or for that 6-year stretch. I can make the argument he was the best one-on-one player in the game. Was it 8 to 13? Yeah, not 14, 8 to 13. I can make the argument Carmelo Anthony was the best one-on-one player in the game. So why is it that, he gets like side mouth? Like Carmelo Anthony was that dude for real. I don't know if it's gonna happen, Jillian, but like I said, I do this, for you guys. That's why I do it. And true, that's a good question. Why isn't Carmelo Anthony a top 3 scorer of all time? Well, when I think about the top 3 scorers of all time, it's all subjective. Most of the top 3 scorers, or the top 5 or the top 10 scorers, are guys that you guys like as opposed to what they produced. I don't buy the logic of, Kobe had more in his bag than Jordan. Well, what did it translate to? Kevin Durant is the best mid-range. Well, he's a better scorer than LeBron. What did it translate to? Is the question. That's what I do my best not to be biased, but when I think about, and by the way, Chris the Sizzler, I'm getting off the subject for a second. Just so you know, we got jerked 2 years for Carmelo Anthony. He should be part of the 30,000 point club. That's 2 years that we didn't get what he could have given us. And this was 4 years ago. This was 3 years ago when he still was super nice. That's 2 years that we didn't get what we could have gotten out of him. So, but right. But I wouldn't big time you guys. You ain't got to worry about that, Jillian. I'm the dude that I'm the dude that's I'm at the Grammys, and then the next day I'm sitting on the block with you guys. I'm sitting out eating a bag of I'm having a smoothie or some nonsense like that. But I don't think Melo is a top 3 scorer. And the fact that he had a 5-year stretch where he was the best one-on-one player in the game, that doesn't automatically put him in the top 3 scorers of all time. No, that doesn't do that. Just because I can make the argument that he was the best one-on-one player for a 4 or 5 year stretch, that doesn't put him in the top 3 scorers of all time. When I think about, Alex English, who is, in my opinion, he's my biggest snub for that dude. Bye, Tiffany, or whoever this is. Beat it. Now, no more they not. They gone. I do think Dwight should have been on that list. Boxing trilogy that I've ever seen. See, there was no Rumble in the Jungle. Like I was a baby when that was going on. So, Holyfield, he dropped Buster Douglas, and what's the guy I'm thinking about who beat Holyfield, and then Holyfield came back and beat him. Riddick Bowe. So guys like that. So there wasn't a guy who, I watched Lennox Lewis beat Klitschko up. I watched them lump him up. So that's who I'm talking about, Riddick Bowe. Yeah. I do want to know why do people say that KD is the greatest scorer? Because he's 6'10", and he can score the basketball from the 3-point line. He can take it to the basket. He can shoot in the mid range. Let me tell you something, Jillian, and I'm glad you brought that up, because you know that there are times during the year when it's this time when it starts to get cold, and that Thanksgiving is coming or the holidays are coming, or you see ads for suntan lotion. The summertime is coming. Whenever I see Doris Burke, I think it's basketball season. I am so happy to see her. I am ecstatic whenever I see Doris Burke, because I'm thinking it's basketball season. Absolutely. No doubt about it. I love Doris Burke. Absolutely. I love her. You can definitely make the argument that Kevin Durant is a top 5 scorer all time. No doubt. You can make that argument. No doubt. Me neither, John. I didn't know that, a lot of the followers that I have are kids. And I think that's largely due to people who just want to know the game. They want to get educated on the game. And ain't nothing wrong with that. Now, I will tell you this, that I have been schooled by them. One of the things that they told me, which I stand by today, and I heard this from more than one of them, was, OG, stay away from Twitter. You think TikTok, if you think TikTok fans are bad, stay away from Twitter. Twitter fans are ridiculously toxic. So I don't even touch that. What I consider kids is teenagers, kids in high school, kids in early college, 19, 20. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was told, Jillian. Stay away from Twitter. Those people are toxic. So I did not, and I will not get a Twitter account, and I will not involve myself in any Twitter NBA. No. Mm-hmm. Twitter is a nightmare. Thank you for letting me know, John. Because that's one of those places that I don't go. Mm-mm. And I don't need to be told twice. You guys in this particular situation, the people that I've talked to, you guys, they're like the people that I've talked to on TikTok and on here, they've made it clear to me. It's like being a parent and me talking to my daughter who's telling me, Dad, stay away from this. And me going, why? And she's telling me, Dad, this is why you stay away from this. You ain't got to tell me again. I got it. Absolutely. Cameron, what's up, brother? What about these boys on Jason Kidd? You could get banned on Twitter. So people are a lot more sensitive on Twitter. Lucy, my MVP pick, and I said this before the season started, I had Giannis, James Harden, and Anthony Davis. Now, James Harden might have to come out for Kevin Durant. We don't know yet. But the other two, I'm sticking with Anthony Davis, Giannis, and Kevin Durant. That's what it looks like right now. Yeah, easy with that Russ Jason Kidd thing. Take it easy. You tripping on that. Sixth man of the year right now is looking like Tyler Hero. Him or Jordan Clarkson. Mm-hmm. Coming off the bench. It was nothing. Hoops. It no structural damage, so it's not that bad. It was two big guys banging knees, so he's probably going to be shelved for maybe a week or 2 weeks, if that. If that. The thing that I'm concerned about is this Zach LaVine thing is a problem, and I know that you guys aren't talking about it, but it's going to be a problem. I'm letting you guys know this right now, and the reason why it's going to be a problem because I'm going to tell you like this, guys: sprains and bruises take weeks to heal. Broken bones and torn ligaments take months to heal. This thing with Zach LaVine is going to be a problem. So, no, I didn't, Jillian. I thought that everybody on that top 75, I thought that I don't think that they got it wrong. There are guys that I think about that I'm thinking, why is he not in the top 75? Like, for example, Alex English. I'm trying to figure out how Alex English is not in the top 50. How? You can make the argument that Russ is the most athletic player of all time. Him, James, Jason Kidd, Chamberlain, Bill Russell. Who was better than him? Good to see you, Darrell. No doubt, my man. I'll probably be on again. What's today? Wednesday. I'll probably be on again, if not Friday, or if I'll probably be on again this weekend, definitely. Yeah, Doc is in that conversation too, Mike. Mikhail White. Yes, Doc is absolutely in that conversation. Hmm. I don't entertain that stuff. LeBron used PEDs. That's dumb. Absolutely, John. Wilt Chamberlain was a Wilt Chamberlain wasn't a great athlete. He was a world class athlete. World class. Yes, Jason Kidd was like that. Yeah. When I think about Jason Kidd, I can tell you this, Agent Cyborg. Think Russell Westbrook, except smarter. I know that sounds nuts, but think Russell Westbrook, except headier as a point guard. I know that, and I know that sounds nuts, but yeah. Spencer Hayward was definitely underrated. It wasn't his ankle. It was a high ankle. He got hit, Jillian, and I think it's more of a precaution more than it's anything. It's not. It's early in the season. If this was April or if this was March and they were competing for a playoff spot, he would be playing. I think it's more of a precaution more than anything. True, you be sleeping on Jason Kidd, man. You sleeping on him heavy. You for real sleeping on Jason Kidd, Joe. Sel, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? Sel, that's your name? How old are you? I'm just wondering. If you don't want to answer, that's fine. But I'm just wondering how old you are. Hoops, you got him at 8. I got him at 5. So you're 19. And I can tell you right now, Sel, in 20 years, in 25 years, somebody's going to say, not somebody, your nephew or your son is going to say to you that was better than Kevin Durant. He played against computer technicians and he played against coffee shop owners, and you're going to want to strangle him. Yo, there's Magic, Oscar, Steph, Zeke, Nash, CP, Frazier, and then Jason Kidd. All right. My list is a little bit different than yours, but all right. I give Jason Kidd the slight edge over Steve Nash. I don't know about that. That's a good question. I think you're right about that, Random. Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. I think Jason Kidd was better. It's a very thin line, but I do have Jason Kidd over CP3. Well, I'm really interested to see that Knicks Bulls game. Very much so. So that's because you're going off what you see now. There's always evolution, man. Always. 15 years ago, I didn't think I'd be seeing a 6'10" dude running around, throwing the ball between his legs, shooting fall-away threes. I didn't think that I'd see that. I didn't think that I would see 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I didn't think that I would see a 6'9", 260-pound dude handling the basketball and running down the gut that's built like Karl Malone that could shoot threes. I didn't think that I'd see that. I'm absolutely going to watch that Bulls Knicks game tomorrow night. No doubt. I do not think Manu Ginobili is underappreciated. No, I do not. And I think that people who talk like that lessen his value. We all know, people who know basketball know how good Manu Ginobili was, man. Manu Ginobili could have went somewhere else and played and started for 12 years. For him to take a lesser role like he did and flourish in that role is a big deal. Speaks volumes for who he was as a player. Because he could have very well went somewhere else and started for 12 years and been a 6-time All-Star. because he was impossible. But I'm going to get in this system that I'm in, and I'm going to do work, and we're going to win. He did that. Imagine if Jason Kidd would have signed with the. I'm glad he didn't do that, though. I am. I love Ish Smith. I think he's the consummate backup. I think he's great for what they're doing in Charlotte. He's going to help them out. He's going to be a big part of what they're doing down there. Loving him. If I had to start a team with either Curry or KD, who would I pick? KD was that dude from the door, Jillian. KD was not a guy who came in and he started off slow. We're talking about a guy who came in and he was a franchise player right from the beginning. From day one, he was that guy. I mean, Steph Curry, we're talking about a dude who, you know, up until they won the NBA championship in the 14-15 season, he was just a nice dude with bad wheels. You know, we didn't really know what he could turn into. We didn't know if he could hold up. You know, KD was that dude from the door. I think it was a sucker move that he went to the Warriors like he did. I do believe that. But with that being said, I can't deny who he was and who he is now. I can't do it. That's of course sell until you see something else, man. You always say you absolutely say that, you know, I think we've seen everything. We've seen everything that there is to see until you've seen something else and go, what the hell is that? I've never seen that before. If I could choose any two players to get in a 1v1 all time, I had to think about that. I would definitely have to think about that. Not to mention, John, when you think about being a track athlete, you know, that's one of the only sports where it's true athleticism. Line up, I'm faster than you. Line up, I'm stronger than you. Line up, I'm bigger than you, and I'm a better athlete than you. That's one of the few sports where you get that. You don't get that in a lot of sports. See, agency cyborg. When you saw Shaq, you was like, "What the hell is that?" That's how I felt about James. And when like as time went on, and my friends were asking me, you know, who do you think he is? I was like, I can't compare him to nobody because I ain't never seen nothing like this dude before. I ain't never seen nobody that big, that fast, that strong, that athletic, that can do what he do with the peel. I ain't never seen that. What the hell? Well, Miles, let me tell you this. I don't think MJ got robbed. I do think that MJ got robbed of the MVP in '97, but it's flipped around. I think Malone should have won it in '98, and Jordan should have won it in '97, as opposed to the other way around. No, Julian, I don't. I'm not sold on the Nets, and the reason why I'm not sold on the Nets is because I know who Kevin Durant is, right? I do know who James Harden is. And this Irv situation is the longer it goes on, man, the more it's becoming less. They're becoming less attractive. So Since we're on the subject of those two guys. Game's on right now. Yeah, Miles, that's where I am with that, sir. Because that Bulls team in 97, they won 69 games. What the hell? They won 69 games that year. We talking about a team who the year before won 72 games. They won 69 games the next year. Jordan was first team All NBA, and he was first team All Defense again. And then the next year, the Bulls win 62 games, but the Jazz win 62 games. They had the best record in the Western Conference, and they beat the Bulls twice. Yeah, I see it. I do see it. Prime D Wade was awesome. He wasn't good. He was awesome. He could get to the basket on anybody. He developed his mid-range. He was one of the better two-way players in the game. I can't believe I'm saying that, but because I hate to talk about elite players who were two-way players, and he was one of the best two-way players in the game. So, no doubt. Wade was, and when he got Shaq, that just enhanced his game because Shaq put the battery in his back, and he became even better than that. Jillian, I think that and I'm pretty sure that I've said this to you before the season started, that I think the road to the NBA championship, it goes through the Milwaukee Bucks. Until somebody knocked them out, they're the team that I'm thinking is representing the Eastern Conference in the finals this year. Can I say anything good about Bill Laimbeer? I mean, he did make the All-Star team. Yes, he did. I mean, I think he's a top 20 rebounder of all time, too. And he was a starter on back-to-back championship teams. He was a starter. Not many guys can say that they did that. No, I would not say that Jimmy Butler is an elite offensive player. No, I would not. Jimmy Butler has the kind of game where he wills himself to things more than he's actually that guy. Jimmy's the guy who's stepping on the floor like, yo, I'm just nicer than you. And I'm gonna run through you to prove that. He bullies a lot of guys. A lot. I do have Wade as a top three. My top 5 shooting guards are Jordan, Bryant, Wade, James, Harden, and Drexler. I don't have Allen Iverson in that category, just like I don't have Steph Curry in the point guard category. I got him in a completely different category than any of those other guys. I think Reggie is right on the other side of that top 5. I think Reggie is around 6 or 7. Absolutely. I think Klay Thompson is in that cat. I think Klay Thompson is in that conversation. Absolutely. Well, I don't compare the 73 win team to the 72 Bulls team because they didn't win it. The 72 Bulls team won it. I do not compare them to that. In fact, I think I think that 73 team, I think it was one of the biggest fails in the history of pro sports. Not only did they have the best regular season record, they had a chance to break the Boston Celtics, which still stands to this day. The 85-86 Boston Celtics, they went 40-1 at home. The Warriors had a chance to break that. They didn't, which is fine. Okay. But they did win 73 games. And not only did they win 73 games, they were up 3-1 in the championship series, and they lost. It's one of the biggest fails, not in NBA history, in sports history. You can make the argument that Mitch Richmond is a top 10 two-guard. He went 8 years where he averaged 26 a game. Made the All-NBA team 6 times. You can definitely make that argument. Mm-hmm. Jillian, take it a step further than that. Okay, let's rewind the clock back to week 1. Before week 1, Jillian, I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs are making the playoffs this year. What am I getting back from you? We ain't in week 7, going into week 8. We going into week 1. Jillian, I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs are making the playoffs. What response am I getting from you? Yes, Kobe did blow a 3-1 lead. Mm-hmm. That's a fact. Not Ian, not some of them. not some of them, right? Not some of my followers. Every last one of them would be gone. And if you ever saw my face again, anybody that you talk to, you would tell them, do not ever listen to that dude. He has no idea what he's talking about. From week 1, you'd be like, this dude is nuts. You are nuts. Have you been taking your medication, Unc? It looks like it's realistic. It looks like it's something that's realistic, because just if you look at that division alone, right, with the Raiders being in first place, the Chargers, the Chiefs, and Denver. So you got 7 teams that's going to make the playoffs. So, and I'm going to get right back to basketball in a second. Who wins the AFC North? I still think that Baltimore wins that division, even though Cincinnati put a whooping on them, which I was completely baffled by. I think that Baltimore wins that division. The AFC South, I think Tennessee wins that division. The AFC East, I think that winner is Buffalo. And so the North, South, and the West, that could be Denver. I'm sorry, not Denver. I'm sorry, the Raiders. So now we got the 4. So now we got 3 teams left. All right, we got 3 teams. I think the AFC North is taking 2 teams. I think they take the division winner, and I think Cincinnati wins that. I think Cincinnati comes out of it. I don't think Pittsburgh is making the playoffs. I don't think Cleveland is making the playoffs. I just don't think so. I'd be surprised if they did. So that's one. I think the AFC North, the only team that coming out of there is Tennessee. That's it. When I think about the AFC South, Tennessee is the only team coming out the AFC South. The AFC West may take 2 teams. Those 2 teams may be the Raiders and the Chargers. So that means that Kansas City could be on the outside looking in. They could very well be on the outside looking in, no doubt. No, I wouldn't be looked at as Skip Bayless. It'd be worse than that, Ian. We're talking about a team they was in the Super Bowl last year and won the Super Bowl the year before that. All right, they ain't making the playoffs this year. Get this dude out of my face. Get this dude away from me. That's exactly what it would be. No matter what argument or no matter what facts I brought, get this dude away from me. If ESPN called. When I think about teams that blow 3-1 leads, the difficult part of having a 3-1 lead is the closeout game, which is game 5. You got to end it, because throughout history, 75% of the teams that win game 5 win the series. So if you're going to win this thing, you got to win it now. Because if this team is down 3-1, they win game 5, game 6, they're going into game 6. All the heat is still on them. But you got pressure, because now if you lose game 6, game 7, you can forget about it. Forget it. I'm not it's one of the big, it's not a huge choke job, but if you up 3-1, you got to end it, yo. You have to. You have to end it. No doubt about that. So, all right, guys, it's about that time for me to wrap it up. And I didn't realize that it was a week ago since I seen you guys. That won't happen again. I will see you guys probably this weekend, and we'll talk real soon. Absolutely. So, as always, this is great, man. And I'll keep it going for as long as you guys hang around. So until then, take it light. But take it.